The WNBA is a league full of excitement for the right demographic. The majority will say it's boring, unwatchable, and just plain. As a basketball fan myself, and someone who grew up with women that hoop in my family, I've always had a special place in my heart for women's hoops. And I think now is the time where people should really explore the women's hoop world deeper than ever before. With the WNBA season kicking off very, very soon, as an enjoyer, I feel like it's my duty or, my job to pretty much tell you why you should watch the WNBA season this year. I've given myself the challenge of covering the league for this year as deeply as I do the NBA, and it might not be as deep because I'm still going to do NBA videos, but I do watch the W, and I feel like people like us on these channels, on TV, wherever you are, we're the vessel for the league growing, especially if we love it the way we say we do. Like I said, I watched the W and I pretty much always have, even since I was little. But last season made me such a fan, so much so that I've actually adopted my own team. For basketball lovers, the WNBA is a perfect vessel for pure hoops, team basketball, and all the little intricacies that you love about the sport. I'm one of those people that love to see different plays come to fruition. I love watching sets. I love watching sideline out of bounds plays, baseline out of bounds plays, out of timeout calls. I love those things about basketball, and that's just the true hooper in me. Of course, there are stars on teams, but there are not as many stars in the W as there are in the NBA, which, believe it or not, it adds to their mystique. This year period has been amazing for women's basketball, especially from a viewership standpoint, and it's really grown even more because you have more people talking about it, whether it's good or bad. Obviously, the WNBA is a different league from college basketball, but we know that women's college hoops, especially the top players we were talking about like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Haley Van Lith, these players are going to be in the WNBA very, very soon. I honestly think this is the time to really push the product and build the game we love for not only men, but women as well. Now, I could come up with a bunch of reasons for why you should watch, but for the sake of your time and mine, we're going to keep it where I keep it. There are a bevy of reasons. There's a multitude of reasons. I could go on forever, but for now, I'm only going to give you guys a couple, some that I think are the most important reasons. However, before we get into it, like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. I know you're not seeing my face in this video, but we're trying something a little bit different for this one. 2022 was the most watched season for the WNBA in the past 14 years. In fact, their viewership was up 16% over the 2021 season. Now, past baddies running up and down the court, because trust and believe there's plenty of those, the game has reached a level never before seen. In the regular season, 4 players logged 7 triple-doubles. For context, in the league's 25 prior seasons, a total of just 9 triple-doubles had been recorded, and no more than 1 in a given season, which is crazy. Teams overall are making more shots, most specifically from 3, and this rose the points per game average to 82, which is the 3rd highest in league history. More points, more excitement, more watchers. To add to all that, you still have individual players that people can root for the same way they do in the NBA. For example, Sabrina Ionescu, she became the first player to eclipse 500 points, 200 rebounds, and 200 assists in one season. Then you have older players that have been in the league for years, like Sylvia Fowles. In her final game, she became the first player to obtain 4,000 career rebounds. And in the same season, Sue Bird, my GOAT, she scored her 1,000 three-point field goal, joining only Diana Taurasi to reach this mark. The level of competition and skill is rising, and there's no other way to put it. And we're at that point where we're starting to get generational talents in this league, and we're going to just keep seeing that year after year after year. Of course, the WNBA season, it has a pretty weird schedule. It lasts from May to September, and we all know during this time, it's a pretty dead period for sports in general. Now, I'm confident in saying you guys that don't miss one hockey game or one baseball game, the guys that watch it to that magnitude, I'm sure you're probably not rushing to watch the W. But what I can say, if you are an enjoyer of hoops and after the NBA season you're looking for some real basketball to latch onto, this is a perfect way to not only brush up on the game of basketball and get that basketball fix in, but you can also learn a lot more from watching them than when you watch the NBA. Obviously, watching the NBA, you pick up some things. That's anybody. We all know this. But a lot of players in the NBA, they have a luxury of relying on their God-gifted ability, whether that's their height, the talent that they have to get there. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, NBA players, they get by on the talent alone. Most WNBA players, they don't have this same privilege, which it forces them to be dependent on team-oriented play. This obviously results in more sets, plays, and just a chess match across the board. It's a real fight, and coaches truly matter what they say, what they do, and how they run their team. In the NBA, we don't often get that kind of basketball until the playoffs. So as a watcher of the W, it's refreshing to see it from the beginning of the season to the end, and seeing all the nuances that make basketball beautiful on a nightly basis and not having to wait till April. Another dope aspect to the W, they had a record-breaking season last year, and honestly, I expect nothing less this year, but there were some rule changes that are being implemented this year, such as a coach's challenge, transition take foul, and the addition of the in-season tournament, which was already implemented, but many people didn't know about it. And last year, the Aces, they beat the Sky in that last summer, and it's a really dope thing to have because the NBA is just now adopting that. Now, if you're not sold on any of that, because I know a lot of you aren't, and I know not everybody is driven and loves basketball the way I do, but I can say this. A lot of us love competition, and we love seeing giants battle back and forth. And this free agency, if you're not following the W, it was a big one. The defending champion Aces retooled an already dominant roster by adding 6'4" legend Candace Parker to a team that already has Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, and my personal favorite, Chelsea Gray. And then on the other end of the conference in New York, the Liberty responded to the Aces retool by acquiring Courtney Vandersloot and Breonna Stewart, who were the two biggest free agents, to a team that already had the MVP Jonquel Jones. And you remember Sabrina that I mentioned earlier, that's part of that 500, 200, and 200 club? Yeah, she's on that team too. So the W, it's not missing parity at all, because there's still other teams like the Washington Mystics, you still have Atlanta Dream, you got the LA Sparks. These are all teams that are very good teams that still have a shot to win the title and make it all the way, even with those two juggernauts at the top of the conference. Like I said, the W, they have the talent and they have the parity to grow this league immensely. I believe it's going to happen a lot sooner than later, but I think last year was the starting point to that. And I think if you weren't really hip to it, you should be hip this year, because this year it's really about to change the landscape of women's basketball forever, especially with how the college basketball season ended last year. The W season starts on the 19th. All-Star Weekend's the 15th of July. The trade deadline is the 7th of August, and the playoffs begin September 13th, just in time for football. So really and truly, this could make your summer go by a lot quicker. As I mentioned before, women's college basketball, it's absolutely going to be insane next year, especially with how it ended this past year and all the discourse regarding it. But we all know at some point, those top stars that we were all talking about in March, they're going to be in the W soon. That same rivalry we see in the college basketball landscape, that's going to follow. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, you got Haley Van Lith, and then you can't forget a lot of LSU's team, like Flau'jae Johnson, who she's just a sophomore coming into this next year, and she's already showed poise at the highest level. Obviously, these players aren't in the W yet, but you can mark my words, and I'm willing to bet that they will make this league grow at a level we never thought we would see before as soon as they make it to the league. Obviously, that shift is kind of starting now, sort of like the shift we saw in the NBA back in like 2015, 2016, where they reached a whole nother crowd of fans and it grew to an even bigger level than what it was already at. That's sort of what I believe we're seeing now, and I think you should jump on the train, because I'm not gonna lie, it's dope hoops. I love watching it. I loved every minute of the playoffs last season. It was absolutely exciting. And to me, I think it is the purest form of basketball we can get when we get to the pro level. Maybe other than FIBA basketball, but when we're talking in the States, it's a little bit more pure than NBA basketball, because like I said, NBA players can rely on their talent sometimes, whereas WNBA players, a lot of the time, they're forced to really make the right decision, play team ball, or it could cost them. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. Make sure you guys do tune into give me at least 5 games from the W this year. That's all I want. I'm going to give you guys some teams to watch for the W. We're going to make sure we are making at the very least, one video a week regarding the WNBA. But that's all I got for you guys in this one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And it is your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube. And I'm out. Peace.